Welcome to HFY Sci-Fi Stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss new stories. In the vast cosmic play of galactic civilizations, where worth was judged by technology and war, the Voidstalkers held a singular, terrifying position. They reigned supreme, regarding all others with a cold indifference akin to deities or dreaded debt collectors. They'd earned this dominance through sheer, overwhelming lethality. Towering figures reaching 12 feet, their hides shrugged off plasma, their claws tore starships. They were living nightmares, scaled and malevolent. Thriving in vacuum, they became spacer legends, their pack hunts transforming star systems into grim warnings against straying too far. The militaristic Craxi Republic dedicated volumes to avoiding Voidstalker zones. The Zithians, obsessed with order, classified them as Apex Biological Hazard Level Omega, bureaucratic code for fleeing in terror. Even the arrogant Thessiela Empire, considering themselves evolution's peak, gave Voidstalker space a wide berth. Their immunity to weapons was infuriating. Energy shields were nothing to beings phasing through matter. Kinetic barriers meant nothing when they treated asteroid fields as playgrounds. Military minds concluded the only defense was simply being elsewhere, far, far away. They hunted the void, feeding on cosmic rays and stray share. They flowed through space like liquid shadows, their movement baffling targeting systems, registering instead as bizarre, astronomical anomalies right before claws ripped through hulls. Yet despite their dread, Voidstalkers possessed an almost unnerving restraint. They rarely attacked unprovoked, observing vessels with the detached curiosity of scientists studying lab mice. This behavior intrigued xenobiologists who pondered their intelligence, although few dared to study them firsthand. The most recent team investigating Voidstalker habits managed only a single, chilling transmission before vanishing. "We've been discovered." They realize we're observing, and they seem to believe It was strangely amusing how the galaxy had found a way to coexist with these ultimate hunters. Avoid their space. If one crosses your path, stay still, and never break the illusion that superior intellect was the zenith of existence. This fragile truce had endured for eons, letting countless civilizations conquer, trade, and cause trouble without fear of becoming a meal. But this carefully constructed cosmic peace was on the precipice of encountering something more terrifying than any cosmic horror: human empathy. Kepler Research Station, a testament to interstellar collaboration, operated as gracefully as a formal dinner where half the attendees considered the others food. 7 galactic superpowers pooled their unique skills to further universal knowledge, all while secretly scrutinizing each other's work. Dr. Evangeline Thorne, the station's lone human and chief xenobiologist, had grown used to being regarded as a fascinating oddity or a mere irritation. Humans were recent arrivals to the galactic stage, achieving warp travel only recently. Most older races regarded them with a condescending patience, usually reserved for clever children playing with dangerous devices. The station's staff was a charming anthology of galactic biases and anxieties. Commander Vexus, a Cracky with the warmth of a neutron star, managed the station with rigid exactness. Dr. Quintel, the Zithian research lead, tackled every issue with the determined zeal of someone convinced that filling out the proper forms could resolve universal decay. Morandus, the Thesian cultural observer, devoted himself to writing reports on the primitive yet intriguing rituals of inferior species. Completing this bizarre group were emissaries from the hegemony of consolidated mining interests, who specialized in inquiring whether any discovery could be profitable, and a detachment from the Harmony Collective, whose research approach centered on reaching a consensus between multiple minds on whether information even existed. Evie was a mediator, translating not only languages, but completely disparate perspectives of reality. when the rifts hinted at unraveling a research enigma with precisely placed detonations. She reinterpreted it as forceful data acquisition. When the Zithians introduced a Byzantine, 47-stage authentication ritual to gauge coffee warmth, she spun it into the semblance of sound scientific methodology. The very space station was an architectural wonder of the station, born of a multi-party promise, had been over-engineered to appease a coalition of alien safety boards. Its design, intended to withstand lunar impacts, ironically struggled to maintain stable gravity in the restrooms. The life support, a bizarre blend for oxygen breathers, methane users, and photosynthetic life, reeked of chemical flowers. Lately, troubling news arrived from the outer rim. Vanished convoys, abandoned mines, and bizarre sensor readings hinted at anomalies in desolate systems. While each species blamed old foes or new tech, Evie sensed a darker truth. The disappearances, coupled with sensor data, screamed of something galactic powers dreaded: void stalkers, active where they shouldn't be. Then came the alert. A standard distress signal from a Thessian freighter soon turned into silence. Only faint energy traces and a suspiciously sparse debris field remained, suggesting a disturbingly clean annihilation. Shortly after, during routine perimeter monitoring, Evie detected an anomaly. A massive object, seemingly torn violently from its origin, drifted near the docking bay. Its sensor readings defied physics, simultaneously biological, metallic, crystalline, and pure energy. This impossible combination suggested either a system error or something evolved to break the very laws of science. Commander Vexus, with pragmatic urgency, cautiously raised the station's alert level and deployed a recon drone to unravel the mystery. The drone offered a stark, concise assessment. Enormous biological being, critically wounded, faint yet unwavering life signals, species unidentified, and a rather urgent addendum. Its sheer size was staggering. How would Dr. Quintel react to this unsettling discovery? Urgent paperwork had to materialize instantly. He conjured initial forms for exotic specimen capture, alien contact, and perilous life-form protocol within moments. His zeal for process was shadowed only by his utter paralysis without committee vetting. The Thesian cultural attaché glanced at the data and haughtily dismissed the being as a simple life form of no consequence to advanced beings, then retreated to craft verse praising Thesian culture. The mining liaison inquired if the organism was minimal. The Harmony Collective launched an internal deliberation across its diverse consciousnesses, tentatively projecting a verdict on whether the alien threatened cosmic equilibrium in a few ages. Evie stared at the information, realization hitting hard. Energy echoes, odd compositions, impossible biology, a void stalker, critically injured. She proposed urgent medical attention, prompting a silence akin to prophesying doom. Commander Vexus chittered, a Craxian laugh of manic glee. Dr. Quinthal commenced controlled hyperventilation while frantically seeking forms related to human self-destruction. The ensuing discussion was galactic diplomacy at its finest, cacophony in many languages, as all attempted to sidestep actual action. The Cracks demanded immediate annihilation for safety. The Zith desired research from light years afar. The Thesians claimed it was unworthy, yet demanded its quick disposal. Meanwhile, the creature floated onward, life fading. Scans revealed severe damage, the cause both mighty and merciless. Evie was alone in understanding they watched a being perish, not just a risk to mitigate. Despite her earnest efforts, she found herself facing a wall of gentle yet unwavering misunderstanding as she tried to convey this intricate idea. Ion hailed from a lineage that had, across vast millennia, come to regard void stalkers as immutable forces of nature, not living, breathing entities. The turning point arrived when she chillingly remarked that a lifeless void stalker drifting near their station would inevitably lure others, drawn by the scent of what had felled their kin. This stark observation had the astonishing consequence of galvanizing everyone towards practical measures, overshadowing abstract philosophical debates. The ensuing cultural storm, ignited by the plight of the injured void stalker, exposed the profound chasm in galactic approaches to perilous wildlife. Each crew member's reaction was so stunningly predictable that Evie momentarily questioned if she was trapped within a twisted xenopsychological experiment. The hardened military stance viewed the creature as a hostile adversary, its injury a strategic advantage to exploit. Commander Vex coldly suggested infiltrating the beast, extracting valuable biological components, and then jettisoning the carcass into the heart of the nearest star to preempt any unforeseen issues. Having descended from ferocious hive predators, his species typically resolved predicaments with overwhelming force, followed by triumphant revelry. Dr. Quintal, steeped in Zilithian meticulousness, responded by generating mountains of paperwork, detailing why any action was utterly impossible without express approval from 17 distinct regulatory boards. His kind had elevated bureaucracy to an art form, convinced that exhaustively detailed documentation could avert any conceivable disaster. The grim reality that the creature would perish long before the requisite permissions materialized was merely an unfortunate but acceptable byproduct of procedural integrity. Perhaps most infuriating was the Fescian perspective, a blend of condescension and deliberate ignorance that only truly sophisticated civilizations could achieve. Mirandus asserted that the creature's agony was inconsequential, for it lacked the cultural refinement to comprehend art, music, or even three-dimensional chess. His species had deluded themselves into believing that consciousness, devoid of aesthetic appreciation, was simply advanced biological code. The mining syndicate representative, ever pragmatic, inquired whether the creature's organs possessed industrial applications. They had received whispers that void, stalker biomatter could be processed into hull armor that was incredibly light and virtually invulnerable, rendering the creature far more valuable as a resource than as a living being. The Harmony Collective plunged into a profound ethical struggle over whether assisting the creature would constitute interference in the grand tapestry of galactic evolution. One faction of their collective consciousness passionately championed the sanctity of all life, while the other adamantly argued that apex predators served a crucial ecological role by culling the weak. Their conversation had blossomed into a garden of 47 unique ethical viewpoints, revealing. Stuck in stalemate, Evie observed the clashing arguments with a patience akin to tutoring particularly dense pupils in fundamental physics. Every species saw the issue through its ingrained history and prejudices, blinding them to the plain truth. A wave of exasperation crashed over her as Dr. Quintal proposed a committee to study the potential for forming a committee to investigate the possibility of contemplating doing something about the being. "Enough," Evie declared, her voice laced with a deceptively serene warning. "While you debate, that creature is dying. Let's abandon being heartless for just 5 minutes and simply try to assist it." The suggestion of basic medical care for the wounded life form was regarded as if she'd suggested rewriting the universe. Vexus cited Void Stalker's apex hazard classification. Quintel lamented the absence of protocols for unknown species. Mirandus claimed her human emotions clouded judgment. Blinded by their prejudices, they missed what Evie, analyzing the creature's bio-readings, had understood. The stalker wasn't just hurt, it was communicating. Its energy patterns formed structured signals, mathematical progressions. It was pleading for aid, yet they were too sophisticated to notice. The moment Evie resolved to act, the fragile interspecies truce on the station began to shatter. Her announcement to use human medicine met a horrified silence. Commander Vexus calculated the odds of a human succeeding where no one had lived to tell the tale, deeming it ambitious suicide, performance art, and a path to new ways to perish. Dr. Quintel hyperventilated, searching for protocols for catastrophic human judgment failure. His database held procedures for EQU equipment failures, nightmarish alien encounters, and catastrophic system breakdowns. Yet no one had ever imagined a crewmate daring to heal the galaxy's deadliest hunter. Evie's audacious plan hinged on bringing the colossal creature aboard, demanding a radical expansion of the station's medical bay to house something akin to a small ship. The engineering hurdles were monumental, altering atmospheric regulators, gravity emitters, and reinforcement structures, a task projected to consume hours. More worrisome was moving a weakened Void Stalker without triggering any residual defense responses. The Stalker's brutal reputation rivaled only its erratic behavior. Even wounded, these beings reacted violently to unfamiliar hands. Evie's solution, a fusion of brilliant engineering and blissful disregard for protocol, was distinctly human. She'd personally navigate a maintenance pod to the creature, make first contact to gauge its status, and then shepherd it toward the revamped docking port, employing whatever mix of tech and improvisation she could muster. The crew responded with everything from strained concern to petrified disbelief. Commander Vexus stressed that maintenance pods were for fixing machinery, not rescuing extraterrestrial wildlife. Dr. Quintel warned that touching alien beings broke 47 regulations. Mirandus remarked that humans tackled problems with a chaotic zeal bordering on raw territorial instinct. None of this slowed Evie. She'd been on the station long enough to know that waiting for permission meant watching a living thing perish. While her peers argued policy, she stocked the pod with medical kits, life support, and her old winter coat, an addition that perplexed everyone. The coat was just a normal human garment, synthetic fibers designed to trap warmth. It had been with Evie for every assignment for 3 years, practical gear, and a mental comfort in the cold emptiness of space stations. Her choice was rooted in a simple observation her brilliant colleagues missed. The Void Stalker's life sign screamed hypothermia. Despite their vacuum-hardened reputation, its core temperature was plummeting, indicating its internal heaters were busted just like everything else. With a heart pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs, her strategy held a stark and terrible beauty in its utter simplicity. She would dare to draw near the beast. Easing into contact, she initiated communication using simple, universal mathematical concepts. Then, adapting human medical knowledge to an alien form, she began to assess its grievous wounds, offering what scant first aid she could while coaxing it towards the station for intensive care. What could possibly go awry with that? Everything, her team had warned, and in ways that threatened to shatter physics while achieving spectacular levels of self-inflicted disaster. But Evie, locking her helmet and firing up the pod, was determined to prove that sometimes simplicity was the ultimate sophistication. Approaching the Void Stalker demanded a perilous blend of gut feeling and self-preservation, complicated by the fact that her knowledge stemmed from cautious observers. The creature hanging before her was both intimately familiar from the files and startlingly different. The Void Stalker was disturbingly beautiful, in a way no scan could capture. Its skin rippled between deepest violet and utter darkness, seeming to swallow light itself. The natural armor was a marvel of bioengineering, complex geometric scales layering its body. Its injuries were instantly obvious, far worse than anticipated. Ripped flesh exposed damaged tissue. Sensory organs bore the scars of direct energy blasts. Whatever attacked it was terrifyingly powerful, determined to kill. Even more unsettling was the variety of wounds, indicating a prolonged fight or multiple attackers. Energy burns marked its carapace. Kinetic force had shattered limbs, and worst of all, exotic weaponry had partially destabilized its molecular structure, creating wounds outside the realm of known biology. At first, the creature reacted defensively, subtly preparing to flee or fight. Despite its wounds, energy surged briefly as an internal system powered up, then subsided as it deemed her pod either harmless or insignificant. Evie initiated first contact protocols, broadcasting mathematical sequences and simple symbols. The beast reacted without hesitation, a primal surge of raw, untamed fury. Astoundingly brilliant. This wasn't mere recognition, but a breathtaking grasp of intricate mathematical theories, hinting at a profound comprehension of advanced physics and multidimensional geometries. What happened next was possibly the most extraordinary exchange in recorded history, unfolding through a tapestry of mathematical formulas, pulsating energy streams, and what seemed like interpretive sensor adjustments. The Voidstalker wasn't just intelligent, it possessed a consciousness operating across multiple cognitive tiers simultaneously. Critically, it radiated fear, not directed at her, but stemming from something that had forced it from its familiar domain, leaving it crippled and unable to return. Its communication indicated that it had been defending something still imperiled by whatever had inflicted such grievous wounds. The choice to initiate physical contact was the kind of decision that xenobiologists would analyze for eons, assuming anyone lived to debate it. Evie simply activated the maintenance pod's external manipulator arms and gently caressed the creature's wounded flesh, carefully monitoring its biosigns for distress or aggression. The Voidstalker's reaction was overwhelming and utterly unexpected. Instead of the ferocious defense predicted by military intelligence, it emitted what could only be interpreted as signals of relief, intricate energy expressions conveying gratitude, hope, and a striking semblance of trust. It was then that Evie performed the symbolic act, destined to be either the most moving interspecies interaction in galactic annals or the most spectacular display of human madness ever witnessed. Carefully, she removed her winter coat, passed it through the pod's airlock, and draped it over a section of the creature's injured flank. The coat offered negligible thermal protection to a being the size of a small craft. Yet the gesture transcended practicality. For the first time, the galaxy's most dreaded predator was experiencing something many civilizations had long forgotten: unconditional compassion from another species. Almost instantly, its bioreading stabilized, not due to any curative properties of the synthetic fabric, but because it finally grasped that it was secure. The revelation that followed the Voidstalker's recuperation was a discovery of such magnitude that it compelled xenobiologists to question the core principles of intelligence, communication, and the very essence of consciousness. As the creature's vitality surged back and its intrinsic restorative powers mended grievous wounds, a chilling truth dawned. The galaxy had been tragically, catastrophically wrong about these beings, wrongly branded as savage beasts for millennia. Lenia, the Voidstalker, a name echoing singer of the deep currents in a language woven from pure mathematics, possessed a consciousness so vast it dwarfed comprehension. Her kind weren't predators, but cosmic caretakers, harmonizing energy flow between stars. What others saw as aggression was intricate environmental stewardship. They watched over interstellar space, mending tiers that could trigger catastrophic failures. Their attacks on ships, rescue attempts, diverting them from zones where reality frayed. Her phasing wasn't hunting prowess, but a tool to manipulate the forces binding star systems. Her resilience to weapons was merely a side effect of existing across dimensions, vital for her cosmic duties. Deep Current's singer was wounded defending a nursery of young from an invader, something unknown, born of the void, systematically dismantling the infrastructure they maintained. The realization was staggering. For eons, galactic civilization had traversed space nurtured by beings they demonized. The Voidstalkers had silently averted cosmic horrors, receiving only fear in return. Now they were targeted, their cosmic stewardship threatened. Without them, the balanced energies would unravel, birthing gravitational chaos, temporal rifts, and the doom of stellar neighborhoods. Ev's simple kindness had unwittingly prevented a catastrophe affecting billions. By saving one injured Voidstalker, she safeguarded the knowledge to combat a silent threat. The creature's gratitude manifested as intricate energy patterns, conveying concepts beyond mortal tongue. It felt profoundly thankful, not only for the healing received, but for finally being regarded as a creature worthy of kindness instead of a nuisance to be erased or ignored. Above all, Signe, singer of the deep currents, then unveiled the stunning secrets of its people, divulging details about the cosmic infrastructure they safeguarded, a delicate web of energy systems maintaining the very fabric of galactic stability. This profound knowledge was gifted without expectation, a pure offering to the species that had at long last shown compassion to one of their own. The crew's response was a spectrum of emotions, from scientific awe to existential unease. Commander Vexthus plunged into a strategic overhaul, now seeing Voidstalkers as protectors rather than predators. Meanwhile, Dr. Quintil wrestled with collaboration protocols, his mind teetering on the brink of a complete meltdown as he confronted the flaws in their old systems. But the deepest shift was in how the crew understood Evie's act of kindness. What seemed like naive sentimentality was now hailed as a profound intuitive wisdom, a quality their advanced societies had tragically lost. A simple act of extending aid, irrespective of species or reputation, had forged a bond with cosmic engineers whose aid was vital to galactic survival. Humanity's initial success in communicating with the Voidstalkers reverberated across the galaxy, its impact echoing through time, an event xenociologists would dissect for eons. Within days of Singer of the Deep Current's rescue, Voidstalkers were sighted near space stations and trade routes, their presence now one of curiosity rather than aggression. The initial terror-gripping military command centers slowly dissolved into hopeful anticipation as the encounters remained peaceful. The Voidstalkers would approach spacecraft, keep a respectful distance, and observe before silently departing. Some ships even reported what seemed like navigational assistance when the Voidstalkers pinpointed dangerous spatial anomalies their equipment couldn't detect. This revelation, that the Voidstalkers had secretly shielded galactic commerce for ages, demanded a total overhaul of interstellar safety procedures. Previously inexplicable safety zones were now known to be areas actively tended by these unsung cosmic engineers, who worked without acknowledgement. Even more concerning, the threat that had wounded Singer of the Deep Currents still persisted and was growing. The entities from the deep void methodically dismantled the cosmic infrastructure, aiming for a catastrophic failure that would leave vast expanses of space uninhabitable. The situation demanded extraordinary collaboration, a shared commitment surpassing anything previously imagined. After lifetimes of looking upon each other with distrust and animosity, the union of Craxi battle prowess, Zithian structured thinking, Thesian innovation, and human-inspired ingenuity became vital to confront an otherworldly foe whose existence defied the bounds of space-time. Evie became an unexpected bridge between humanity and the Voidstalkers, tasked with deciphering languages forged from minds so profoundly different. The creatures spoke with mathematical art, where beautiful equations held emotions and philosophies, while humans used heartfelt imagery and cultural lore, needing layers of understanding. This extraordinary partnership defied everything known in the galaxy's story. The Voidstalkers shared their knowledge of the universe's secret architecture, while each species added their own unique talents. This gave rise to a powerful defense, blending cosmic engineering with earthly warfare, forging safeguards that stretched from planet-sized to galaxy-wide. Evie found humor in watching her comrades completely forget their initial fear when she chose to assist the wounded Predator. Commander Vexus now hailed strategic compassion as his own brilliant military innovation. Dr. Quintel produced documents proving that helping Singer of the Deep Currents was always the only correct response, according to proper xenobiological guidelines. But the most moving transformation was Mirandis. His Thesian arrogance vanished when he found that these feared predators were actually gifted artists, painting with gravity and composing music from starlight. His new poems explored humility and how every consciousness is linked, instead of just celebrating Thesians. Even the profit-driven miners learned that working with Voidstalkers unlocked access to cosmic treasures hidden from ordinary technology. The creatures were eager to share energy-gathering secrets that were not only better, but also kinder to the environment than existing methods. Because this union of species was so successful, talks began about forming permanent ties with the Voidstalkers, starting joint research projects, and building new systems for maintaining the universe's infrastructure that included all galactic civilizations, instead of just one. 6 months had slipped by. Evie, sifting through accounts detailing their triumph over the void creatures, couldn't shake the profound irony. Could a small spark of compassion truly have averted a cosmic catastrophe? The Winter Coat, humanity's inaugural offering to the dreaded Voidstalkers, now floated within Singer of the Deep's personal sphere, a treasured emblem of galactic redemption. Who knew the universe possessed such a darkly comic twist? The galaxy's most brilliant minds had teetered on the brink of cosmic ruin, paralyzed by their own sophistication, unable to offer aid to a wounded creature. It was humanity, a species still finding its footing among the stars, who reminded them that compassion knew no species. Rich indeed was the irony. Every major power espoused philosophies of interconnectedness, universal cooperation, and moral responsibility. Yet when confronted with a genuine chance to embody those principles, they hid behind procedure and prejudice. Humans, the galactic newcomers, succeeded where eons of evolution had faltered, daring to believe that alleviating suffering trumped protocol. The so-called primitive had illuminated the path to practical compassion for the supposedly advanced. This act sparked a revolution in interspecies relations, a permanent shift born from shared vulnerability. Victory against the void entities birthed new collaborative frameworks, reaching far beyond crisis management. Joint research blossomed, exploring cosmic mysteries and the nature of consciousness, while cultural exchange shattered ancient barriers. The revelation that Voidstalkers were cosmic caretakers, not destroyers, forced a reckoning. Once feared corners of the cosmos now revealed sophisticated civilizations, victims of misinterpretation. The coat itself became an icon, a testament to humanity's capacity to bridge impossible divides with simple kindness. Now, diplomatic rituals included comfort objects, and military doctrines prioritized understanding over immediate aggression, reminding everyone that perceived threats might hold the seeds of profound cooperation. As Evie composed the concluding lines of her incident documentation, a wry smile touched her lips. The sheer absurdity of it all, her unassuming winter coat, now a pivotal diplomatic relic, was a cosmic jest she couldn't ignore. Across vast cosmic distances, the Deep Singer labored tirelessly, preserving the celestial architecture that sustained civilization. Clad in a fragment of synthetic human skin, a constant echo of the profound truth that wisdom and empathy could blossom in the most unlikely of vessels. The cosmos, it appeared, had been yearning for a being naive enough to recall that true civility lay in aiding those in need, irrespective of their power, standing, or fearsome appearance. Only humans, it seemed, could inadvertently rescue galactic civilization by stubbornly refusing to succumb to terror in the face of the so-called monsters.